What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR Garage. My name is Justin. Today we have a few cosmetic upgrades for my GR86. We're going to be replacing some of the OEM light bulbs with some LED bulbs. We've got clear side markers for the car, and we've got smoked rear taillight overlays to add some style to the rear of the car. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll take a look real quick at what we have here. Of course, we have the JDM style clear side markers. These go right in front of the front tires. We'll get those installed. We have an assortment of LED lights here. This is just some generic light kit I picked up. We're gonna try those out, and then also some Sylvania brand lights as well. See what the difference is between these LEDs. And then the tail light overlays. We've got the rear tail light overlay, the overlay piece for the side of the tail light, and then also a reverse light overlay, this larger guy here. So let's jump over and get those installed. We're gonna knock out the LED bulbs first, and I have a few different bulbs here, or a couple different, I should say. Like I mentioned, I got this little Sylvania bulb. This is a 168 T10 bulb. And then this generic one that I picked up, it says 241 on it, but I'm not sure what the brightness level of this is. It's a T10 style bulb as well. And then for the reverse lights, I have these larger ones. This is what came in that other generic kit. We'll see how those look as well. But we're gonna start with the door bulbs. So the ones that actually turn on when you open the door. And so it's this light right up here. Let's go ahead and turn the garage lights off, and then we can see what that looks like here before we put the new ones on. Changing these bulbs is super simple. You're gonna want a pick tool like this one here. I've showed you guys this in many videos, but these are super handy to have for many different uses. But stick your pick tool up in the front side of the light towards the front of the car. You just kind of gotta squeeze it up in there and then pop out the front. You can pull it down and bring everything out. So you can disconnect it from the connector. It's just a simple little push connector. You can pull the whole thing out, let it cool off a little bit, and then the light bulb just slides out like so. Set that aside. We'll grab our Sylvania lights first, and these are actually directional, so you kind of got to test which way it goes in, but it just snaps into place like that. Plug it back into the connector. All right, so it didn't light up. That means I got it in backwards, so pop it out, flip it over. And there we go. So clearly a difference there. We're gonna put it back in and check it out in the dark, and then compare it to the other light that we have, the other LED. Much clearer with this LED. Definitely like that look compared to the dull OEM color. We popped out the Sylvania light. These ones are not directional for whatever reason, so it doesn't matter which way you put them into the clip. Snap them into place. These ones actually fit a little more awkward compared to the Sylvania light, but there's that. You can see it's got the light diodes on 4 parts of the light versus a bulb style. So we'll pop that in there, see if that looks any different in the dark. So after taking some still photos and comparing those two lights back to back, it almost seems like those generic LED lights are slightly brighter, maybe slightly more white, but I'm gonna leave the Sylvania ones in there for now, and we're gonna move in and put the dome lights in. I actually have a dimmer version of that Sylvania light for the interior. All we do is take our same little pry tool and squeeze it in between here and pry it forward. We should be able to pop it out by hand. Super easy. Pop out the other side. A little tricky when you're doing it one-handed with the camera in the other. Come on, there we go. Push up on this guy to turn it off or on. And then replacing the bulbs, some light up in here so you can kind of see it a little bit better. So the bulbs are just kind of hanging out in there. Just pinch them and pull them downward. Give them a little wiggle. And there we go. I'm gonna throw one of these style bulbs, the little generic, in this side to compare with the other. Pop this guy out. Stick our little Sylvania bulb in there. This one is directional. See if I get it correct. Yeah, there we go. Put the covers on and see how different they look. So this generic bulb, or this generic LED on the left here, definitely does not look as good as this Sylvania bulb up in here. I don't know if you can make it out in the camera or not. I'm gonna pop this one off and just replace it and have the two Sylvania 194 bulbs for the dome lights. Now with those installed, we can move back to the rear of the car and install the reverse light LED bulbs. Now these ones are a little bit bigger than the ones that we put on the inside of the car. So again, these little guys here, I didn't have the Sylvania version of these bulbs, so we're gonna try these ones out and see how they look. But on the back of the car, we need to remove a panel here. Basically this little panel here that houses the reverse lights. And you can kind of see in there, there's a bulb on this side and a bulb on that side. There's little clips on the bottom that you need to remove. So if you have a clip remover tool like this guy here, that is ideal, or you can use that plastic tool or even a flathead screwdriver. But we need to pop out these clips. Looks like there's 3 of them. And then we should be able to get access to that. So let's get those clips removed. Once we have that bottom panel out, it's as easy as grabbing these guys, giving them a twist clockwise, and they will drop out. So there's our nice OEM bulb. Let's pop this guy off, slap in our LED, put it back into place. We'll go ahead and turn them back on and compare the OEM to the LED. We'll leave the bottom panel off for that though. The last LED we're going to replace is the trunk lights. This is this little guy up in here. It's easiest to take this little light basket out, and the way you do that is there's a little tab on the back here, and you simply pull it away, like push it that way towards the front of the car, and it releases the little basket. And then inside there's 2 little pinch clips on either side here that you gotta pinch, and then you can kind of use pull the basket at the same time as you're pinching the clips to pull the whole thing out. There we go, just kind of comes out. And then I'm going to disconnect it from the connector, which has a little push release on the back of it here. So squeeze that, and there we go, pops out. And since this is the trunk, I'm going to use the brightest of the Sylvania bulbs, rather. Pop that guy out, grab one of the 168 Sylvania bulbs, pop it in there. So we'll plug this back in, and hopefully I got it in correctly again. Nice, got it on the first try. Click the plug in place, pop the basket back in the hole and close it. So we got those LEDs installed, super simple, very easy to do. I like the look. And now we can get to the rear taillight and reverse light overlays. So since we're putting a smoked overlay on this reverse light, I'm gonna do that right now while I've got that lower panel off. So let's go grab that overlay. We're gonna get the lens cleaned up, and then we can apply the overlay, put it back together, and check it out. Clean the lens off with a little bit of water. And then we'll use some alcohol as well, so we can get good adhesion from the overlay. The overlay is cut to fit the light, so the little notch on the bottom of it goes downward. You can see the notch on the tail light here. Carefully peel off the overlay. We're gonna line up the upper corners. Once you have it in place, and you might need to peel it off and redo it. I've had to do that once already. And it doesn't have to be perfect because the cover doesn't actually expose the whole light. So as long as you get it pretty close, it will cover up just fine. There we go, looks good. We can go ahead and put the rear cover back in place. And this is the light version or the semi-smoked version of the Kevin Vo or Driven Media overlays. So there's actually a darker version of this that's almost blacked out, but I went with the lighter smoke to start out. So we'll see how that looks. I kind of like the look of that. Almost matches the lower gray plastic there. Pop our clips back into place. There we go, super simple. I like the look of that. Let's check it out with the lights on again. We'll clean these ones off just like we did the others. Make sure they're good and dry. Let me get the back one too while I'm over here. So we have our left side overlay for this particular outer portion of the taillight. Get it peeled off of there again. I'm gonna try to line up the top of this in that left-hand corner with the right-hand corner. Didn't quite get it right, so try again. And wow, I totally just installed this one with the camera off thinking it was on. And I've already done the passenger side. But anyways, getting this overlay on is similar to doing the other ones. You just need to line up the corners and the top here and then kind of squeegee it with your finger into place from left to right from the center, or I guess I should say from the center and then left to right. That's the easiest way that I found. Then just use your microfiber to kind of brush things into the corners and get it all nice and smoothed out. If you have something sticking up in the corner, you can use a fingernail or something. I wouldn't scrape it with your fingernail because these things do kind of scratch a little bit easy. So all right, we've got the LED lights installed, we've got the overlays installed. Now it's time for these guys, my clear side markers. Let's get these suckers installed as well. Then we should be able to take a complete look at the car. We'll get it outside in the sunshine as well as the dark and kind of check out what it looks like. Installing the side markers is also super easy. We have to remove these 3 push clips by pushing in on the center of the clip, that little round button, and then you can pry them up and out. Once we have the clips out, we're going to peel back the fender liner and remove the plug for the light. Grab a 10mm wrench and remove the single bolt behind it, and that bolt was super tight on my car, so don't be afraid to give it a little strength to get it out. And then there's 2 clips, one on the top, one on the bottom, that you have to push in, and then the whole piece will just pull right out. Simple as that. Grab your new one, push it into place, it'll clip in on the top and the bottom. Put the 10mm nut back on. Get that snugged down, not super tight, but tight enough. Plug in the light on the back. And then for the push pins, you want to pop the center piece out through the top again. Insert it, and then you can push the center back in to pop it in place. And then you're pretty much done. Take a look at before and after. And then we got a handful of glamour shots of the car. And the car is looking super awesome right now. Really happy with it. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please leave those down below. I would love to hear from you. We've got more upgrades for the GR86. In fact, we've got Eibach lowering springs that we're going to be installing on the car very soon, as well as a couple minor engine mods. We have a Grimspeed intake tube and a K&N air filter. We're going to show you how to install those, and of course, try out the car and see how it feels and sounds after installing those mods. So if you haven't done so yet, consider subscribing to the channel, turn on your notifications if you want to keep up to speed with what we're doing here at the BTR Garage, and stay safe out there. I am checking out. We'll talk to you all next time.